Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be back after a long, long weekend. I say I had a long weekend in the best of ways because my mama was in town. My mom, my aunt, and my Lola. And we did a lot of things. We did a lot of things, and it was really wonderful. And it was also um, very energy expending. Spent a lot of energy. And that's the best thing to spend energy on is family, in my opinion. Went to the Road to Hana yesterday with them, and it was great because my aunt, who I don't get to see much, I got to talk to her a little bit about what I do, and she was even asking me questions about her human design and how she's supposed to operate. Hello, hello, Brazil. Hello from Hawaii. And top of the morning, guys. It is Monday, May 5th, the day after May 4th. Hi, Kim. Everyone, welcome to the live. If you're new to the live, we talk about human design. We talk about all kinds of stuff in here, but primarily we talk about how to actually use human design in a practical way because that's what I'm obsessed with. Let's say 13, 14, almost 14 years ago, I was introduced to the world of spirituality through Reiki. And I very quickly realized that there is a lot of fluffy, feel good spiritual stuff. And then there is also a fair amount of very seriously effective and powerful techniques. And immediately I knew I am here to figure out the difference between the two, and not necessarily to judge them, but to for myself experiment and discover like what actually works spiritually. And I found there were a lot more people than me doing this, and so I'm literally standing on the backs of giants, people like primarily Samuel Sagan, who has helped to distill a lot of the spiritual fluff from the actual alchemical gold that is present in the world. So what's up, Stephen? Family was amazing. Joy, hello, hello. Welcome, guys. Good to have you tuning in here. It's their today is their last day, so this is gonna be probably somewhat of a quick live. We'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna spend as much time with them as I can because I don't get to see them that much. So anyway, but while we're here, we are going to um, do our usual thing, talk about human design. If you have questions about your human design, feel free to throw them in the chat. If you don't have a body graph, go to my website right now, generate a body graph. It's free. I do recommend getting one of the reports just because it'll steer you in the right direction. They're $20 for the budget report and $35 for like the full shebang. It'll basically teach you about how to read the body graphs and human design in general. Um, but just getting the body graph is free, and there's a lot of videos on my website, or rather on my TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. These lives all get stacked up on YouTube, and you guys can learn a lot just from watching these videos. And that was one of my goals in making content, is I just wanted to make this information accessible. It's more organized in other places, and there is a premium, I call it just a premium membership, where you can not only um, talk and discuss human design stuff with people, but actually get workouts that pair really well with your undefined centers or open centers. Basically, my partner and I, Pasha, created something called the archive, which is where you are able to engage in learning something called sensory design. It's not really something that we teach. We're just giving you guys an opportunity to learn it because sensory design is something that your body teaches you. And the primary goal of sensory design is to help you create a sensory sense of self to go along with your human design conceptual understanding of self. And this gives you a full scope of transformation. It gives you a full scope of what you can actually physically do, like if you're feeling head pressure or other people's problems. So, could you talk about patterns repeating in relationships, like as choose partners that still entanglement with X, HD is able to explain something. So I wouldn't necessarily human, we can use human design. Any relationship that you're in, especially a sexual relationship, is going to come with a level of conditioning. The more time you spend with that person, the more energy, the more you change yourself to be pleasing to them or to be liked by them or valuable to them. the more conditioning you're going to incur. Typically, the more undefined or open centers you have, the faster that conditioning is going to happen, and the harder it's going to be for the person who's being conditioned to recognize what's going on. They're going to think they're just trying to be a good partner. Things like burning yourself out just to keep up, avoiding sharing what you actually feel so that you can save someone some level of grief, trying to solve someone else's problems. These are just some examples of the way that relationships can get tied up in you. Now, as we move through life, a lot of people are not actually considering the effect of the relationship that they were just in. So they are doing, my ears have been stopped up since I did that hold your breath and look up exercise. What do you mean stopped up? Like they're just stuck up. Anyway, the layers of conditioning that continue to get added. I mean, you could imagine, like, you're building a tower and you keep building a tower and it gets high and higher, 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 and it just gets so high that eventually it becomes unstable and falls apart. Julie, that's kind of what you're experiencing now, is somebody who has spent so much time stacking layers on, but not enough time either dismantling themselves and really reflecting on themselves, or going into the deeper layers of conditioning, which will be to actually physically unpack a lot of the postures and sensory information that's associated with the X. If you have a partner that is still hung up on the X, also, I would say this says a lot about you and your own um, self valuation. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to call someone in on, hey, look, if you're wanting a relationship with someone and they're still hung up on their ex and you're okay with that, there's something deeper inside you that will reach and look for validation regardless of the cost. Because if you have a partner that's still hung up on their ex, or there's still some entanglement with their ex, again, boundaries are going to be with yourself. If you could tell a partner that, hey, I don't want you to be in contact with your ex, and your partner might say, oh, well, they're my best friend, blah, 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 blah. And this is where you get to decide, where is your boundary? Is your boundary in, how you say, allowing this person to have a relationship with their ex, even though you don't want that in your relationship, because there is energy that is going to come through back to you? Um, and are you going to enforce that for yourself, or are you just going to allow the other person? Are you going to adjust your boundary for that person? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you are adjusting boundaries to accommodate other people, that conditioning thing is happening. And so in human design, you were offered something called an internal authority. And Julie, one thing that you might want to look at is your internal authority, and then look at the messages that are coming your way that are giving you the ick, or giving you the like red flags regarding the entanglement that your partner has with their ex. Again, if you're an emotional authority, there's going to be like a tightness in the chest. There's going to be a crumbling happening, or like a claustrophobia. If there's the spleen, you might get just like whispers of intuition, or your head might get foggy, or your throat might close up. If you're a sacral person, every time they get brought up, it's just going to be like an And recognize as well that it's not like, oh, you're a good person and they're a bad person. It's literally like you're both people and you're reflections for each other. That person is a reflection for you and your self-worth. You're a reflection for that other person in their own conceptual sense of self. This is why we created the archive, so that we can sort of like stop doing all this like mental gymnastics that has to be done as human beings, and we can pair all of that mental gymnastics with pressurization and the ability to actually feel the body, from a smell sensation, from a taste, from a pressure and a heat sensation, as opposed to just the mental. Because doing mental reflections, you can do that forever. And they say hindsight's hindsight is 2020 for a reason, because it's obviously super clear what happened, but were you present for what happened? And that's the real magic that the archive and sensory design gives us, is an opportunity to be present for what's happening, even if it feels scary, even if it feels unsafe, even if you're afraid, even if you're confused, even if there's doubt. You're still going to be able to be present for it, because part of the archive is literally training you how to be present when, let's say, we're doing a move like this and we're holding that for 2 minutes, and at 30 seconds you immediately start thinking, I don't want to do this anymore, this is way too confusing, this is way too hard. Those kinds of roadblocks are the exact things that life gives you as a means of allowing you to heal beyond it, or strengthen yourself using that obstacle, or elevate yourself or deepen into yourself using the thing. So my guessing is that I'm attracted to partners who discharge their emotional issues unresolved in me. I'm MG sacral, and I'm attracting emotional manifesting generators. That sounds about right. And again, it's not a bad thing to recognize. It's actually a great thing to recognize, like, oh man, I am addicted to other people's emotional waves, because it gives me something to process other than processing my own stuff. Um, and again, this is not a bad thing. What's bad is if you recognize that and then you don't do anything about it, right? Like, you could spend the next 2, 3 years going on to a bunch of different lives, or a bunch of different, courses or whatever, and asking the same question. And inside, your gut is like, we know what's going on. We know what's going on, and we don't like it. And however, even though it might not be healthy or enjoyable for you, if it's familiar, oftentimes your mind will choose what's familiar, because when you operate from the mind, it does this thing where it's like it really loves to recognize patterns. It likes consistency. And so when there's something that breaks the consistency, like, oh, we're dating somebody who takes accountability for their emotions, and, they don't want to unpack their emotions with me. Why don't you trust me? What's wrong with you? Why are you not being vulnerable with me? Your mind will literally attack those people as a means of trying to find something to continue the pattern. And so it's not it's in a way it's a defense mechanism, but it's not really a problem when you know how to actually rely on your sacral, because your sacral will say, like, this person, I can tell they're going through something emotionally, but like, it's they're not putting it on me. But your mind will say, oh, but everyone that's ever loved you has put things on you emotionally. And so that's our standard for, if someone loves me, they're going to put stuff on, they're going to trust me with their emotions. They're going to for help. Is the case. When someone actually loves you, will be like, this is nice. Yes, this resonates with me. Um, Process something familiar with me. So one of the ways to sort of pacify the mind is learn how to swallow your thoughts into your body. And by swallow your thoughts into your body, I literally mean swallow your thoughts into your body. Do it from different angles. Swallowing thoughts into your body is so important. It's breastfeeding mechanics. And then also pushing pressure and repressurizing yourself, literally the same way that you would if you were diving and you feel the water pressing in on your ears. Just plug your nose and see what's happening in my neck. Pressurize, repressurize yourself. In human design, we have two pressure centers. One at the top, that's the head. That's the pressure to think or become something. Underneath is stress. That's the pressure to do things. Inspiration, stress. You have to learn how to repressurize often, because every time you come into contact with another person, you're instantly adding their head pressure and root pressure to your own head pressure and root pressure. We're empathetic beings, and some are more sensitive than others. But we're empathetic beings. We can feel each other. We can feel each other. We can also project things onto each other. We can say, this is my problem. Now that you're here, this is your problem as well. As well. We do this unconsciously in the archive. Take accountability, not only for your own stuff, but also for the stuff that other people are projecting onto you. So it makes you safe by allowing you to inhabit your body from a sensory perspective rather than from this like mental, spiritual kind of like higher self version. Like everyone wants to connect with their higher self. I'm like, you realize your lower self is running amok because you're not able to be present for all the lower self sensations, the pain, the suffering, the confusion, the doubt, all that stuff. That's the stuff that you actually have to be present for. You can touch your higher self, but your higher self can't do anything if there's no bridge down into the body. Taisha, oh, welcome. First time on the live. I just joined yesterday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, this is the place to ask questions. Please do. If you have anything specific about your body graph as well, I did see that you just posted it over there in the archive. I can go look at that. And yeah, this is kind of like micro reading territory. So you'll have to share it with some of the other people that are here. But please feel free to ask questions. This is the place for it. Nikki Bella. Yeah, you're welcome. And again, it's they're such simple concepts, really, if you think about it. They're so simple. It's like, how could it be this simple? And the matter of it is like everything that's complex is built off of simple foundations. And if you just practice the fundamentals and the simple stuff, all of the complex stuff starts to emerge. And this is where people, for instance, they want to learn CrossFit, they want to learn yoga, they want to learn calisthenics, they want to learn all these different things before they develop senses. Like one of the reasons why people get injured so much in the fitness world, and then there's so many like, injury specialists, is because oftentimes what we do is we train the efferent feedback, the locomotion, the movement, before we train the afferent feedback, the ability to take in, okay, what kind of environment am I in? How much pressure is in my chest? Is that suitable for the type of environment that I'm in? Is the heat in my body at the proper temperature? Afferent feedback is the ability to get information successfully into your nervous system. Efferent feedback is what you do in response. So it's afferent is seeing the tiger, efferent is running away from the tiger or kicking the tiger in the face. What's so important about afferent feedback as well is that this is where we actually start as human beings, is training afferent feedback. We're babies, we cry so that we can get a boob in our mouth. We start sucking to get nourishment into our body. And for many, many months, we can't really do much as babies. We're just like our efferent feedback is not trained very well, but our afferent feedback is getting a lot of, we start to know, like, oh, that's bright. Oh, that's a loud sound. We start to contextualize the world around us through our senses. And so the archive is a combination of sensory training and locomotive training, movement, biomechanics, throwing, walking, running, sitting, standing, squatting, all of these basic maneuvers that we have. But again, everyone is like, I want to do handstands, but you can't even like swallow reality correctly or from multiple angles. So if you want to actually like get into your body and not let human design just be some kind of like yet another spiritual kind of bypass, the archive is the place to be. Tips for a 44.4 design Earth. Ooh. 44, I've heard often. Is it 44 or 53? Alertness. Alertness is gate 44. I've said this before, talk to trees. Learn how to listen to whispers, especially from your right ear, like ringing in your right ears or whispers, intuition in your right ear. Um, Pay attention to the smells of things big time. And one of the things about the earth is like this is like the grounding part of you. And this is also like you're probably going to be more sensitive than others to safety. You're going to be more alert. You're going to be more on the lookout for, is this healthy? Is this not healthy? Is this safe? Is this not safe? And that's something that you don't need to compare yourself to other people. Why don't they care so much about the safety of a space than I do? Because they're not in Design Earth 44. So anyway, a lot of this also, I would say, when it comes to the spleen in sensory design, the way we train the spleen has a lot to do with tensile strength in the body. So getting this to match up with this coordination, one-to-one ratios. The better walker, runner, thrower, fighter you are, the happier your spleen is going to be and the more safe you're going to feel. How do I find my fractal groups? What do you mean by fractal groups? Are you talking about like godheads, that kind of stuff? Because in that case, you could just go on Facebook and look at the godheads and ask who has these gates, the ones that share the godhead with you. I wish we could chill. I mean, we are chilling right now. There's so many wonderful people that I've met here on live and here in the internet space. And every time I go live, I feel like, for me at least, it's an opportunity to get to chill with them. And then also, we've created the archive. It's a place for, again, people that want to go deeper with myself or with my partner Pasha, and we be chilling there regularly. So if you want to come chill, come chill. If you want more chill, come get more chill. It's like more chill, but also like less chill, because we also hold people there in some deeper accountability pieces that, um, again, might be uncomfortable at first, might be confusing at first. It's like the archive is where conditioning goes to die. Like if you're over your conditioning, if you want to experience life deeper, if you want to not be so afraid, not so anxious, not so sensitive, if you actually want to like live your life with courage, come join the archive. This is where we literally train people to do that. And not only that, but we are seeing results with people changing the shape of their ears, making their eyes more calm. Like, you can see physical changes in here. And a lot of the stuff that we do is also anti-aging because it moves lymph. It helps to build out functioning parts of the body that correlate to the nervous system that literally communicate. When you build these parts out, it literally says, hey, we want to live longer. So anyway, funny you said this. I keep feeling like a voice is trying to come through my right ear but can't make it out. Yeah, a lot of these bodily functions don't speak English. It's like, or like, like high frequency stuff. The ability to interpret where it comes from in your body has nothing to do with your ability to communicate with another being. It has everything to do with your ability to listen and allow frequencies and information inside you to move you. Incarnation crosses four ways to find it. Yo, my buddy Luke Shaolin Luke is on the cross of four ways. Come check it out. Feel free also, if you're in your archive, that's a great place to look for it. Look for people. Hey, I'm this, looking for others of this. Ross says reflectors are born to be conditioned. Marco, what does this statement imply for you? It's kind of like a challenge, kind of, because I've been conditioned in so many ways, and then I've also been under the illusion that I'm not conditioned at all anymore, and I've deconditioned myself. But the reality is, it's like everyone is born to be conditioned. Otherwise, we wouldn't be born with other people to condition us. Conditioning is not the enemy. The ignorance around how conditioning happens, how to decondition and recondition to something else, is the enemy. That's the real enemy. Like, there's people who are educated in the world that think they're the most educated people in the world, and they don't enjoy their life. They're constantly fighting against stuff. They're constant, and they don't know how to uneducate themselves. They don't know how to, and I'm talking about education like someone gives you a degree, not the actual root of education, which is to bring out that which is within you, to lead out that which is within you. That's a true education. So when it comes to conditioned, I'm like, yes, I'm conditioned. And most of that conditioning, I've been the one, how you say, picking who's conditioning me. I'm choosing who's pouring into my cup. And everyone can do this. You get to choose who pours into your cup, down to the people that you follow, the people that you hang out with, the people that you swap fluids with and get sexy with. everyone that's in your field, if they're sharing air with you or you're looking at them or hearing their voices, they're conditioning you. So be very mindful about that. That's definitely my message as a reflector, is like, conditioning is not a problem. It's the inability to decondition and recondition to something else that is the real problem. And that is literally what we teach in the archive. So I love your teachings. I started watching 1.1 today, not finished yet, even though my head and ajna on throat are defined. I think I get stuck in my head sometimes or something. Whenever, if you're a human being, regardless of your definition in your head and ajna, everyone is going to get stuck in their head and ajna. So I will say that that is a very, how you say, normal part of our conditioning. And again, learning how to decondition that. So anyway, when I practice freestyle rapping, yes, I love freestyle rapping. It feels like pressure builds up in my body. I can't hold it, so my flow stops. I feel something similar when I'm leading or teaching something in a group of people that I don't know. So 1.1, Taisha, is really designed to show us like the beginning of the journey, in the sense that 1.1 introduces us to global pressure and heat a little bit, mostly pressure though, through getting the pressure in the face and recognizing there's this inflation and deflation. And it's like a balloon. If you have a balloon, the first time you blow it up, it's really hard. But if you blow it up 17 times, eventually the elastic becomes looser. The idea, what we want to do with your face, your head, your body, is we want to blow that balloon up, but without losing any elasticity. So we'll go to the edge of, and then eventually we're going to take that ability to handle pressure up here, bring it down into the chest and the ribs. That's another diaphragm. Underneath, boom, 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 in the guts, being able to pressurize your guts down to the point where it's like eventually, and again, that pressure that you feel build up, you're no longer going to be afraid of it. That's what we're looking to do, is to give you opportunities and introduce you to pressure and heat within your own body that is entirely natural, but that the world has taught us to fear. Like, for instance, when it comes to freestyle rapping, I can resonate with this. Sometimes the pressure is on and I lose my flow, but sometimes I have my flow because the pressure is on. Well, what is the how do I get it to the practice? It's practice. It's practicing inducing slight, discomfort, and in some cases like heavy discomfort. Like, you don't want to have to do everything from this angle. But if you could only spend 15 seconds in this angle before your shoulder starts coming forward, before you start panicking, before you start saying, oh, I really want to get back to just doing what's right in front of me, that's a weak point in your armor. That's a place that pressure can, if you're in a ship or a submarine, that's a weak point, and the pressure is just going to. So it's about becoming stronger. But this is a great question, and freestyling is an awesome way to start playing around with pressure. Some things that you can do is, when you do feel that pressure building up in your body, push pressure down, and then practice throat vacuuming and pulling pressure up. Sensory design will take you through this kind of unfolding process. And again, it will take time. There will be moves that sensory design shows you that you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Perfect. The whole point of the archive and sensory design is to get you enough points of contact with the mind saying, I'm not doing this right. This isn't working. I'm confused. I don't know if this is worth it. And enough points of contact with meeting the mind saying, sit down, mind. Sit down, backseat driver that has very little connection to satisfaction and peace and all this stuff. So hi Marco, advice is on the riddle of pushing air to the chipmunk cheeks and having the creases on the top lips. I'm working the basics, yes. Also, I feel like I'm swallowing glass when I swallow. Definitely something going on with the throat. Yeah, a lot of the times there's not blockages in the throat so much as there's just pathways in the throat that are not being used. Swallowing in different orientations and noticing the sensations, and not like, this isn't about optimizing your pressurizing, is not about optimization. It's about, and you only want to spend 15 seconds here before coming back. Great. I'm not here to push you and say go And one of the things that the same thing over and over and over again, and I have no idea what to do. And so what happens then is I will just play the music and I will walk around outside and I will just like kind of like dance to my own music and I'll just kind of start just mumbling and babbling. And it's important to just be able to like allow yourself to be in the signs that your creative energy is not flowing. It's kind of the and again the balloon into like, oh, creative energies are flowing newer now. How am I going to respond to these newer territories? Adding playfulness is huge because it's like, you know, the seriousness of, especially when it comes to creation, and especially like in this current transit, because we're in the transit of receptivity, vision, and um, creation or creativity. I understand the necessity in certain situations to create. However, creating from a place of seriousness and not allowing any playfulness to come through is it's part of the what you would call Luciferian experiment. It's like, oh, I want to be sexy, but I don't want to be fertile. Oh, I want to provide for a family, but I don't want to have to give them any of my time. It's like it's the bastardizations, it's the perversions of of life. It's like creativity without playfulness. That's that just sucks. Anyway, so yeah, add playfulness. And if you don't know how to add playfulness, um, add like ridiculousness. Add like if you're trying to learn a dance move and you can't get the dance move, like just do the dumbest thing that you can. Do some dumb stuff. I am in a bus. DC's my bus, and I love my bus. My internet lapsed there for a second, guys. By the way, apologies for that. 2.3. Dude, your live has cut off twice. Both times is when you were criticizing the Matrix. That is sus, bro. I know. It's funny because I'm like, I'm not one to say like, oh, I'm being shadow banned or like the Matrix is limiting me. But all of this should be available on YouTube. And also, you know, again, it's like in criticizing the Matrix or criticizing the country or criticizing anything at all, you know, so much of my ability to criticize and judge things is really it's just that's just my conditioning. So if you relate to things that I say in terms of my criticism, you know, a lot of it's like we have the same conditioning. And there's people who have the polarized conditioning to what we have. They look at us and they'll criticize us in the same light. They'll put us in a similar that's bad box as we're putting this or their stuff in the that's bad box. It's like the enemy, the angel of my enemy is a demon to me, and my angel is a demon to my enemy. And so reason I'm sharing that as well is because it's like one of the things that I am constantly looking for in my own life is like, how am I the enemy? How am I the villain? How am I the bad guy in this situation? Not only does it just give me a lot of insights into the inner workings of whoever the antagonist is in my life at that time, but it also gives me an opportunity to like humble myself and take accountability for, because I'm not, as much as if I am a reflector, I'm not feeling everyone's stuff. I'm not aware of everyone's stuff. And so this is something that I feel like a lot of, you know, if you're not actually physically embodied, a lot of human design for reflectors will just tell them that they're this like sensitive, reflective mirror and that they're something that they're not. It's like we're all still human beings, bro. I feel like it's good to criticize, but also remind myself that this is not the end. Yeah, like yeah, right. Like we use criticism in a similar way that we use language, is to like understand ourselves and understand others and accept others. Marco, what is omniscience to you? So I was taught omniscience through the Roman Catholic Church in the form of like God being omniscient, in this sort of all knowing, like, you know, can create the illusion of free will, but also is sort of like it knows what's going to happen. And so um, omniscience to me is, in a lot of ways, I feel like what a lot of people strive for, or what the mind strives for. It wants to, like, it recognizes patterns. It wants to be omniscient. It wants to know the answer to everything. And just like the forms are perfection, but living in the world, the kingdom as I call it, you know, there we can reach towards perfection, but the goal is not to become perfection, because if we become perfection, then that means we're dead. So it's like approaching infinity, or approaching um, perfection without the end goal being perfection, because then that means the approach is over. So it's like really, really like enjoying the journey, because once you get to the destination, the journey is over. So I'm new to this. I feel empowered by my chart, but also disappointed that I'm not who I thought I was. Yep. Any tips on how to embrace and accept this new version of who I am without putting too much thought into it? So you're going to put a lot of thought into it. That's the point. What you need a way to do is process the thoughts that you put into it. And if you're not doing that somatically, you're doing that with more thoughts, which is ultimately just making your job harder. So the best thing I would say, Lee, is to come check out the archive. The archive is a membership. It's only $37 a month. We teach something called sensory design, or rather, you're going to learn something called sensory design, which is a way of getting your body to how you say, reclaiming your body, to reclaim your body through sensation and pressure. So for instance, a lot of your thinking is happening primarily in your head. Any pain or sensations that you're feeling, they're immediately going to your head for like rationalization, or your mind wants to be like, oh, I'm feeling this pain in my stomach because I can't stomach this. But the reality is, you're just feeling pain in your stomach. There's no rhyme or reason. Or maybe the rhyme or reason that you think up with your mind is not connected to the actual source of why you're feeling pain in your stomach. The real magic happens when you actually start to explore your body, not through visualizations, but through actual compression, squeezing organs. One of the things that you will want to experiment with, and I'll just give this one to you right now, is getting your lungs to compress your heart. So again, if you imagine your heart is here, your lungs are right around it, and your rib cage is right around that. What I want you guys to do is take a big inhale, expand your lungs like you normally would, make your rib cage nice and wide. On this next exhale, compress your lungs, compress your ribs, get really small. Use your arms to push against your ribs, and don't let yourself expand to the side. Allow your lungs to expand inward and compress and squeeze your heart. Use your lungs to hug your heart. Breathe in and squeeze your heart. Anytime you're feeling disappointment around your design and you're feeling the thoughts come up, just start to do this. Start to squeeze your heart and pressurize your heart, because what happens a lot of the times is people are bolstered, or they're made more stable by their mind, until they're not, until their mind becomes a prison. And now that stability that they wanted is now just shackles and chains and walls. And so what you have to do is, rather than finding stability from only your mind, you have to find stability in your body, specifically getting your organs to stabilize each other. Like, one of the reasons why a lot of people don't like running is literally because of that. Because what happens is, either there's way too low of pressure, there's not enough pressure, and the heart is just like blum, 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 and the lungs are just and the skull and the head and everything is just like blum, 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 bouncing around. Or the pressure is too high for them, and they instantly think something is wrong with me. Because when you do this, the heart hug, so it's like you feel something, right? You feel, and your mind wants to be like, oh, this is that and that and that. But that's the problem. It's the mind making up stories about something that's happening, as opposed to the mind accepting what's happening. Oh my gosh, that felt good. It does feel good. And I'll tell you right now as well, The support that you're looking for from your partner or your boss or your parents, it's not, you're not going to get it from them. You're going to get it from yourself, or you're going to constantly be looking for someone else to give you something that only you can give to yourself. Like, how many times have people said, like, I need more support from you. I need you to be how you say, a better communicator. I need you to anything at all. Anything at all. And if you notice those words coming out of your mouth, I need this from you, I need this from you, etc. Check yourself, hug your heart. See if you can't give yourself the thing that you're demanding from somebody else. Tasha, you hate running? Makes sense. And jumping jacks? Oh, I get it. I Google it. Yep. Pasteurize it. I have a body graph generator on my website as well. I would recommend going to my website because there are some other human design websites that are not reliable and they do their calculations different, or they're even just like on a totally different tip. But if you go to my website, enter in your birth information, you can get a birth chart for free. I also offer reports that are a lot cheaper than pretty much any of the other human design reports. So you can get a fully custom report for like 35 bucks that'll teach you about human design, and it'll analyze your body graph for you in depth. So I think some of my conflict is due to my 51 and the personality earth. I've got that 51 too, my friend. Definitely. Also, look at your Mars, Steve, because that's where a lot of the conflict and stuff is sort of resolved, or the transcending of conflict is resolved. So, what is someone is being bad towards me and I'm defending myself, telling them what I need to? What if someone is being bad towards me and I'm defending myself, telling them what I need to? I mean, it's again, it's a drama, and not in like a derogatory term, but it's like if you have to defend yourself, in my mind, if there's any energy or charge like you need to defend yourself, there's probably some element of truth in what they're saying. And this is what a lot of people do, is they'll defend themselves from the truth to a degree, because the truth would have to accept, would force them to accept, oh, I was inconsiderate of this person, or oh, I was not as mindful as I tell people I am. Or I promised I'd do this and I wasn't able to do it. I said I was going to hold up this boundary and I'm not going to hold this boundary. It's like one of the best things you can learn about conflict is from Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi sacrifices himself, becomes a part of the Force, so that the evil could ultimately consume itself. Amazing tip. Thank you so much. I got you, Lee. I got you, my friends. I got all of you as much as I can. Yeah. When it comes to the heart hugging and the pressurizing in the chest as well, it's like even when you're singing, if you actually take singing lessons, one of the first things they teach you is how to properly pressurize your voice. Most people sing la 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 la, and then they're out of air. Professional singers can la 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 la. They're not letting a bunch of air out at this. They're compressing. It's like if you take a balloon and you like, pull it apart, it makes that fart noise. It's compression. So anyway, energy vampires wanting you to react to the drama, staying calm and boring to them is key. Yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it. And not that I don't believe in energy vampires or any of that kind of stuff, but if you have an energy vampire or any kinds of those energies in your field, it's because there's some part of your conditioning, which if you want to, kind of separate yourself from the conditioning, that's fine. But it's like some part of your conditioning and part of the way you are, like it wants those characters. It wants something to push against because you don't know how to push against yourself. Ooh, did you guys hear that? Hiya. My personality, sun, and earth gates are on my undefined centers. What do I need to know? Hmm. What do you need to know? Oftentimes, there's going to be people that you feel like you could actually be yourself around, and then there's other people who are like it's really hard to be yourself around. I would definitely look into the way that your composites are with those kinds of people. Like two extremes, right? Certain things feel really good. People, exercises, songs, certain things feel like, yeah, I like that. Other things feel like, what is that? Okay. The goal with what we're doing here as human beings, in my opinion, is to get to the point where the feeling good and the feeling yuck are met with the same, like, level-headed, responsive, reflexive. Sorry about the connection today, guys. So if you're on the fence about joining the archive, I want to share that it's changed my life. I couldn't function for months, and I'm starting to be able to take care of things with ease. Stephen, I got you. Thanks, bro. Mars and Gate 41. Ah, okay. The gate of fantasy. Pressure. Pressure. 41 is all about experiencing something new, right? Something new. Which is interesting. What were we talking about? Conflict again? Maybe it's like you got to be experiencing more new things or come up with some new slides. I don't know. So I'm new. What is human design? So human design is a system that was channeled by a man named Ra Uruhu back in the 80s. And it effectively brought the Kabbalah, astrology, the chakra system, and the I Ching together into a single system. And its primary focus is giving people the information that they need in order to surrender to the vehicles or the bodies that they're in. It's a wonderfully um, deep system that is built on top of a lot of esoteric fundamentals like the Kabbalah, like the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, like astrology, like the I Ching. And really, where I think it's beautiful is that it gives us the mental information, the mental frameworks that are helpful or that can be helpful in accepting and discovering who you are and how you're actually supposed to live your life. Because one thing that is probably clear to everyone in this live is that sometimes I can feel the thoughts of other people. Sometimes I feel the emotions of other people. Sometimes I feel the creativity or the energy of other people. And what am I supposed to do with it? And so, where human design gives us the mental frameworks, my partner Pasha and I have created a membership called the Archive, where we are sharing people what we call sensory design. Sensory design is the physical counterpart for human design. Human design gives you the mental frameworks, sensory design gives you the workouts to strengthen those. So thank you, internet. It made sense what I was allowed to hear. You're welcome, Penny. Sorry about the if some things chopped off there. Um, but again, like one of the biggest invitations that me and my whole page right now is in, like, I'm here as someone who's going to invite you into the shared reality of how robust is your nervous system, how quickly can you spring into action, fight off an invader who's trying to take something important from you, then how quickly can you go back to having your dinner. That level of intelligence, that level of embodiment, to me, is much more important than how much you know about your human design. There's plenty of what you would call unconscious competence, people who have no idea that they're living their life perfectly. They don't need to know. But if you do know, and you have the ability to lead your life naturally, that's magic. How do I use Neutrino? So Neutrino is a human design application, mobile application, and web application as well. Um, the way that you use it is very carefully. There's a lot of information in Neutrino design. I'm actually hopefully going to be able to upload some of my tutorials today, but I do have an explanation that I'm going to be sharing with everyone pretty soon on my YouTube and on all these other platforms. So hi, Marcos. I love your reflector aura. Wondering if you could reflect about the projection field. I'm a 2-5 projector, keen to know your thoughts on the triple projection. Yeah, so the projection field, it's like your aura is something that is felt by other people, right? How they're perceiving you. But your aura is generated by your organs. And so, one of the things about projectors that I love to watch is how often they are wondering why they're not being felt and witnessed and seen by others. And so they go to great lengths to show other people who they are before they start to actually strengthen the cohesiveness and harmonies of their internal organs. Again, this is what human design is all about, energy centers. Those energy centers have physical counterparts in your body. The solar plexus is the celiac ganglia. The G center is like the blood and the liver and probably the skeletal structure. The spleen is physically the spleen. The root is your adrenals and your feet. The sacral is your pelvic floor. There's physical counterparts to those 9 centers that you see in the body graph. And if you never explore those parts, and I literally mean like when's the last time you like pressed on your eyes and explored the shape of your ocular cavities? When's the last time you did that when your eyes are facing or looking all the way to the right? Very gentle, very healing, very simple. Too simple for a lot of people. They want something complex. They want 500 hours of yoga teacher training in Bali and a spiritual initiation and all that. I'm like, bruh, just learn to swallow. I was talking about projectors. My projection or my reflection for projectors is that the more you work on your organs and the homeostasis in your organs, the proper pressure, the proper heat, the more people are going to see you, the more people are going to value you. And this is something that you're inherently designed for. As a projector, you can't be social as much. You're going to pick up a lot of people's stuff. You're very insightful. You can feel things very deeply. So what do? Oh, take a lot of naps, be like a vegetable. Like this is what a lot of the pop human design, we can call it pop human design, has said about projectors. Um, you need to have a certain type of job. Like, no, you need to take that time and all that energy and spend it doing something that's actually helpful, which is making your nervous system more matured and more robust. It's your embodiment. So when it comes to, especially like triple split projectors or when you're split definition projectors, like no one lives on their own. No man is an island. However, most people are not even themselves. And you're not going to be able to achieve any type of success, peace, or satisfaction until you get to know your organs and you stop questioning when your gut goes, ugh. You're like, why? Why does it not like this? Because it's your stomach, because it has to digest that. The reason you think you like it is because someone praised you for liking it. Like I learned this about child development, and just as a I'm a dad of a 2-year-old. I've been learning a lot. I by no means know everything about child development, but one of the things that I was deeply humbled by was realizing that children are not little adults. They're children. Children evolve into adults, but until they are adults, they're not just like tiny human beings. They're something else. They're becoming something else. And so they're way wiser, but they're also like way ignorant of stuff at the same time. I digress. The thing that I learned was that children don't even have the capacity to share from a place of I want to share until they're like 7. Up until 7, the reason they share is because mommy and daddy go, oh, look at that's so sweet, you're sharing. They want the acceptance, they want the praise, they want the and this is where conditioning comes in. They want to know, oh, mommy and daddy think I did good. And so I'm going to get love. That's why I share. Get out of here. Yeah, and in a lot of ways, children are very, very wise. And one of the greatest things that you can give to your children is not to, how you say, not traumatize them. It's to be there when they are inevitably traumatized. And when you're the one doing it, or when you're the one inflicting the conditioning, to take accountability for the inflicting of that conditioning. So that way, instead of them having to talk to a stranger at a retreat in Peru in a family constellations, they can just talk to you. So anyway, that might be one of the main reasons I find it's hard to stay consistent. Even if it's working, I get bored. Got the 4130 plus the 36. Yeah, my emotions come out randomly. Yeah, and I would say it's like consistency is a very interesting thing, because I feel this a lot where a lot of people say like, "Oh, I'm not disciplined, I'm not consistent." And it's like you're consistent with something. Like your heart is beating consistently, you're breathing consistently, you're digesting things consistently. So what are the things that are actually inconsistent um, in your world? It's not about time management, it's about activity management, right? Everyone gets the same 24 hours in the day, regardless of how you chop it up. It's 24 hours. One of the things that's so important in terms of developing consistency is building a proper foundation before you just attempt to be consistent with big things. One of the things that I've been doing consistently for like the past 13 years is something called RPM, Rise, Piss, Meditate. And it's the easiest thing in the world. I wake up, I pee, I meditate for like 2 minutes. Sometimes I meditate longer, but without fail, every day, it's just like so simple. And there have been days where I missed it, but it's only 2 minutes. And so even if I miss it in the morning, I just do it whenever I realize, oh, I didn't meditate today. 2 minutes. And then from there, you just build on top of that. Sometimes I don't know the difference between a gut feeling versus responding to past trauma and ending up not listening to myself. So check this out. 18 months is the marker. If you're responding to something that's 18 months ago, um, we need to do a lot more like sacral saturation and pelvic floor work. If you are responding to something like traumatically that's happened in the last 18 months, that's a normal response to something that's happened to you in the last 18 months. So that's a good marker, because some people are like, oh, is this wrong that like I don't want to do this thing even though I know I should be doing it, blah, again, a lot of mental gymnastics. But the only way to start discerning the difference is to start invoking or saturating or pressurizing or heating up those organs, which, if you're a sacral being, doing things for the sacral specifically and for the pelvic floor are going to be the things that are actually going to help you come into contact with what is sacral response to something and what is conditioning. So, yep, I've been doing 6 minutes of intermittent inner vision meditation. Helps a lot. Like, you just start small. Most people, they say they're not consistent because it's like, oh, I can't do like an hour of meditation every day. And it's like, can you do 5 minutes? Can you do 6 minutes? Can you do what can you do? Because if you can do something small a lot over time, that's what builds. You have to build consistency. You have to build momentum. Like, everyone expects themselves to just be like cheetahs and just like, come out the gates at 100 miles an hour, zero to 100 miles an hour in 2 seconds. It's like, how many times have you done it? None. Okay, let's get you from 0 to 2 miles an hour in 5 seconds. Like, you just start and I wrote about this today in the archive. Like, one of the biggest obstacles to between you and where you want to get to is you not knowing where you're actually at. I'm wearing a Carhartt tee. Yeah, I love this shirt. It's got like where is it? Oh, this whole side is aerated, which I love. So anyway, I always do it after a shower when I created my homemade sauna, small meditation. Oh, that's what's up. You made a sauna? That's so cool. The longest meditation I've done is probably like 90 minutes. I mean, unless you're counting like medicine ceremonies, which I don't necessarily, I guess that could be meditation. But just like sitting in stillness like that, there was a couple years where I would literally meditate like 3 hours a day. And just like, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just read that um, it's not Hermes Trismegistus, it was one of his incarnations, would meditate at um, sunrise, noon, and then the evening for like an hour each. And when you're meditating that much, it's like there's levels of like, oh my God, am I in heaven? That are, I don't know how I want to say this. Like they're always there, but I'm not usually able to perceive them because they're so freaking subtle. They're very, very subtle. They're just like under the layer of the awareness. Now that I'm a dad, that's not only not something I really have time for. I don't really have the desire to do that as much. Like my meditations now are going to be like being present and enjoying my daughter, or different. There's different layers to it. I still meditate, but it's definitely not a as long or as much, because I've found some other ways to access those worlds without needing to sit still. Sitting still is very important, but I found ways to access them through movement, and they're similar but different. Sorry if that's confusing for anyone. 90 minutes. Dance meditation is lit. Singing meditation is so lit. That's impressive. It seems like a lot of it's not even like focus. It's just surrender, because it's like, again, with meditation, for instance, a lot of people will sit to meditate and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm thinking. I guess I must be doing it wrong." And it's like, "No. If you stop, like if you stop your meditation because you're thinking, that's doing it wrong." In meditation, you're supposed to watch those thoughts. Meditation, you're supposed to become the observer. You're wanting to pacify the reactiveness and the needing to do everything right. Sitting still, I never achieved by sitting still. By listening to music, walking makes me still. Yeah. There is no substitute for sitting still. I will say that. Like if you can't sit still, if like you're jittery, again, probably good for you to sit still. I just got to the point where I was like, I could literally be here all day. I want to be here all day. This is beautiful. And okay, great. Now what? Now you have to learn a different type. It's like once you, again, this is the thing, is like people are so excited to like get to their destination, but then once they get to their destination, then you got to start another journey. So just enjoy the journey that you're on, because it's like there's always going to be thoughts, there's always going to be trials and tribulation, there's always going to be things that are quote unquote getting in your way. But the magic of life and the human body is that we're so adaptable. Human beings are so incredibly adaptable. There are beings that are more adaptable than us, but I digress. Human beings are incredibly adaptable. And so oftentimes human beings will F themselves up because they adapt too much to one thing. And then they become unable to adapt to a new thing. Again, a true education is not just who knows the most. It's who can learn, unlearn, and relearn the most efficiently. That makes you adaptable. That's the goal. Hey, Marco, I'm meditating daily like 5 minutes and it's making me feel great, but I've heard Ra talking about my variables, PLRDRR, and he said something like focusing on something too much is like not good for me. I don't quite get that. Could you maybe um, make that clearer for me? Totally, dude. Like, and you're actually literally doing it right now. You're focusing too much on what Ra said rather than your own experience. Um, that's hilarious. Ra says a lot of stuff, and as you know from being in the archive, bro, it's like what Ra says is important, of course, but what you say is important as well, and what you experience is also incredibly important. I got you there. Yeah. So I would say keep meditating. Just keep meditating. And again, like the presence with everything that you're feeling, and that's the most important thing. Like Ra's interpretations came directly from like a divine voice. And there's a difference between all the stuff that Ra says with his mouth and the things that the voice said. The interpretations, a lot of the human design system is from the voice, and a lot of the things that Ra says at lectures and things like that are things that Ra as a man observed. And it's not to say that he doesn't have any validity in that, But there's a difference between like the divine voice that brought him the instructions on how to calculate the body graphs, etc., and Ra's interpretations of those instructions and his overlays. And it's those Ra's authority is the same as mine. It's one man's inner authority and observation of the external world. That's it. If you can cross-reference and verify, great. If you cross-reference and verify and then pick apart the results and skew the data so that, you know, our findings are congruent, I'm like, that's not science to me. That's not observation. That's not truth with a capital T. I'll take being wrong on the chin over having to like tell a lie the rest of my life. Have you ever listened to Dolores Cannon? I listened a little bit to Dolores Cannon. My mom was really into channelings, and I listened a lot more to like Abraham Hicks than Dolores Cannon. Do you ever get to the West Side? Every now and then I will. About to have another baby here soon, so probably not going to be making any traveling, doing much traveling, at least for the next quarter, 3 or 4 months. But we will see. My family does. My family lives in San Diego though, and so when I do get to the mainland, I get to go see them in San Diego, and I love them. My mom is here right now actually. Love Abraham Hicks. He's so it's yeah. So many like beautiful channelings that have come through, and you know we live in a time now where anybody can say that they're channeling anything, and there'll be quite a few people that will believe them just at face value. And part of my excitement with the archive and human design and sensory design is giving people the eyes to see when someone is, for instance, passing off a message for everyone, when really it's like they're actually just channeling messages for themselves. And they're not following the messages that they're channeling for other people that are actually meant for themselves. And they're just leading people. It's the blind leading the blind. A lot of channelers are like that. A lot of psychics are like that. A lot of people that they're under this illusion that they're helping people, but the reason that they're helping people is to bypass the actual work necessary to help themselves. This is why I do the opposite. I'm not here to help anybody. I'm here to help myself the most, and then I share what works for me, and if it also works for you, great. But I didn't teach it to you. You didn't learn it from me. You learned it, and it worked for you because it's a fundamental truth of reality. Because I'm a 3-5 reflector. Like, invite me to your retreat. I'm gonna bang everything respectfully. I'm gonna bang everything against whatever truth I can find with a capital T. And if your thing breaks and the truth is still there, I'm just gonna call it like it is. That's what I did with human design. I was like, okay, great. Let me see how this works. Did everything, followed everything. Then I'm like, all right, I've done this for like 6 or 7 years. I'm gonna start breaking some rules. What can I break? And there's a lot of things I broke. The thing that breaks the easiest in human design is this idea around that, like, knowing your design, knowing more about your design, and knowing more about the human design system will help you live your life better. It won't. It will not. It will actually do what a lot of the pills will do, which is numb you out from certain realities and parts of life. Because it's like, for instance, if you're a projector or a generator and you're told, oh, wait for an invitation. A lot of times what projectors will do is, instead of building tolerance to people that don't want to invite them to things, they just hide away from everybody. And that's a fine phase to be in for like a year and a half. But if you're a projector and you've been hiding, disguising it as like, oh, I'm just protecting my peace, in my world, I'm like, you don't actually have peace, you're just hiding. I'm also a 3-5, so I'm here to like poke at things. I'm a reflector, so I'm here to poke at things. And I know because I've spent a lot of time hiding in my life. And I'm not saying hiding is bad. I'm saying hiding, but thinking that you've ascended and that other people are on the, a lower frequency, etc. I'm like, that's just say you're hiding. There's times when I don't want to see people and I will hide from them. When people ask me to come to things and I don't have energy for it, I don't make up some lie about how I got shit to do. I say, dude, I do not have energy for that. You guys have fun though. Just more, for me, I'm just more transparent than most people are comfortable with and used to. Come to Idaho. I would love to go to Idaho. There are a lot of hot springs there, which I love hot springs. So eventually, we're gonna go on a tour, and we're gonna go to a bunch of hot springs. Archive hot springs meetup. Exactly. Invited to give advice, not invited to life, right? So a lot of what we're doing again is like inviting you to just make your nervous system more robust. Make it so that you can hold eye contact with someone. And instead of like, oh, I don't want to absorb their aura because then I'm going to amplify it and I'm really sensitive and that's going to orient me. Say, oh, I've done this. I've trained this way so that I can absorb more aura now. And then eventually I get to my threshold. Then I stop. Then I disengage. Then I go hide because I need to like recoup my own energy. But I know how to recoup my energy. It's not just this sort of like, I have one big outing and then I like hide away for a couple months, saying that it's like something. And again, this is we're arguing semantics here. What I'm saying is that a lot of the human design stuff without the sensory design stuff, it's just more psychosis. It's more illusion. It's less surrender to the body, more conditioning of the mind. And until you actually have the nervous system to support your design, you'll never know what it actually feels like to be successful, to be peaceful, to be satisfied. How can I tell the difference between intuition and intrusive thoughts? Primarily your experience, but eventually start training sensory design with us. There's going to be a different flavor. It's going to smell different. It's going to come from a different part of you. And right now, you're probably like, what is that? What is it supposed to smell like? I don't know. I'm not in your body. I know what my intuition smells like, and I know what my thoughts smell like because I've spent time sniffing them. And I know that sounds kind of weird and wild, but this is kind of how this works. Is if you don't smell it, if you don't taste it, you're not going to know. You're going to always rely on somebody else to tell you, oh, this is a trick to identify things in this way. This is a trick to identify things in this way. And those tricks are fine and fun and cool. But it's like, yeah, oh man, my intuition is so alive recently. I Van recall millions of times I didn't listen to it. Yeah, so your experience, and then again, how you show up for those experiences. How present are you for the experiences? Again, are you looking to have some external authority tell you what's going on, or are you using your sense of smell? Are you using your celiac ganglia, which is your solar plexus, which is the authority center for 50% of the population? I'm new here. Hi, Deb. What do you suggest for getting familiar with your sensory teachings? I am a 2-4 manifester. So, Deb, it looks like you're already in the archive. So I would say you're in the right place. I would just watch all of season 1 and then take note of like which class felt the best, like you enjoyed the most, and then which class felt the most challenging or the most confusing or was the one that you like didn't like the most. And I would just watch season 1 and then I would go back and I would do those two, and I would do like a video a day. Don't get too hung up on like mastering each class. You don't need to do that. Go through all the way season 1, find the class you like the most, the class you didn't like the most, spend a couple days on the class you liked the most, and then the class that you didn't like the most, and then go on to season 2 and just start chugging through it. Those classes were filmed and were created in a way as a means of guiding someone through the unfoldment of it. And pretty much at every phase, you're going to encounter confusion. I'm not doing this right. This is hard. Why am I doing this? That's your mind, kind of like a parasite, struggling to stay alive and struggling to stay in control. So expect confusion, expect doubt, expect a lot of thoughts, expect discomfort, expect wanting to run away, expect wanting to give up, and then have courage, and then side with yourself, and then tell yourself, I'm going to make this happen for myself, because that's really what we're developing in the archive, is like authentic human will. Oh, windy. Which show? So I mean, I guess it is a show. this is called sensory design. This is what we share in the archive. This is basically our like, hey, for those of you that want to make human design more than just a cool, spiritual thing to talk about, like you want exercises, you want physical things to do, especially if your body is in fight or flight a lot, like you're really stressed out, come join the archive because we will literally show you how to, using the body and using very minimal equipment and at a very affordable, it's 37 bucks for your first month, just 37 bucks a month basically, or 333 for the whole year. So for the price of having someone read your human design as an analyst, you could come join the archive, have an entire year of access to this material with live calls twice a week, pre-recorded calls, a kick-ass community. I go live 3 times a week. This is basically office hours for anyone in the archive. You guys can, again, ask any questions from the archive, and I'll answer them. I can even look at your body graph and all that. So if you want to get started with that, that is via the link in my bio. You just click or go to reikimarco.com or click the link in the bio, and it's called the archive. Put your email in, do all that stuff. So excited to join. I talked to Pasha today. Oh, yay. I love Pasha. Pasha, that dude is like my best friend. And such an incredible teacher as well. Pasha is my partner in the archive. And he was raised by a reflector, which is very cool because I'm a reflector. He's a 1-3 manifesting generator, emotional authority. My brother and dad are both manifesting generators, emotional authority. So I was reflecting with him on this a couple days ago about how cool it is that, his parental figure is a reflector, his mom. My parental figure is a manifesting generator, which is him. And so there's a lot of healing that's happening through the way that we're... Is that a cat noise? Is there a kitty out there? Through the way that we're interacting with each other and building together. He literally feels like family. Literally feels like family. I met him probably about 5 years ago now, out here on Maui. Yeah. So you can use a tennis ball and hunt your demons. Exactly, Steve. Yeah, tennis ball, or if you're going really hard, lacrosse ball. I've been using this thing. Where is it? Oh, it's not in here. It's like a big ball. It's like the size of a helmet to de-armor the core. Like something that a lot of people would be like, oh, like you don't have problems, Marco. It's like, yeah, I spent most of my younger life being like stoked on a 6-pack, but not actually having core abdominal strength. And it really messed me up. My neck, my shoulders, my low back, because I had the 6-pack, but I didn't have the side body, and I didn't actually have core abdominal pressure. And this is something that, you see a lot of people, especially like beautiful women. I feel like they probably suffer the most because people are like, oh, you're beautiful. How could your life suck? And it's like, how many beautiful women just get used for their bodies and used for their beauty and then thrown away because there's another beautiful woman that someone else can use after they use them. Beauty, and then they say this in the Bible too. It's like, and they used to say this a lot. They'd be like, I'm sorry that you're so beautiful, because the dregs, the materialists, the people that are stuck in the density, they're not able to navigate the density with all of the less dense stuff. It's like there's a specific type of challenge for everything. If you're tall, there's a certain challenge that only you know. If you're short, there's a certain challenge that only you know. And it doesn't do you any good, really, to compare your challenges to others because they don't have your challenges. And so this is where it's like, you are the only one with your experience. You're the only one you can look to. And once you start to do that and you start to find some strength in yourself, then other people show up to help you. It's great. A woman said that to me once, and it was so mean and short-sighted. Again, that's her experience. And it's not to say that that's the only path for beauty, but it's like for me, for instance, like I grew up training martial arts, so I always had this six pack, and everyone was always commenting like, "Whoa, you got a six pack? That's so cool!" It inflated a part of my vanity and my ego beyond the point that I knew what to do with. So it's even more weird when you grew up ugly and got beautiful as an adult, like big change. Yep. And in your system of values is probably skewed as well because you're used to people like not really valuing you because you're quote unquote ugly, and then you become pretty and now it's like, oh, I guess I am valuable here, but maybe you're not able to accept it, or maybe you get drawn into relationships where you think someone loves you and cares about you, but they actually just love the way you look. So it's like, again, we learn from suffering, we learn from pain as much as we do from pleasure, but we have to be able to be present for it. It's presence for it. And by presence, I mean literally not ejecting out of your body, not trying to think about something else, not getting hammered or, getting lifted so that you can just handle it. You think you're valuable because of your looks that way. And again, like this is part of my journey. And it's fine if anyone else has different journeys. But it's like, especially with this, like the six pack, that's the thing that's I can relate to. I thought I was valuable because I had a six pack, because everyone loved it. Especially as a reflector, that really messed me up. But then when I started learning about how weak I actually was, I avoided a lot of that work for years in being a spiritual guy. I was like Reiki dude with the six pack and still didn't have any core strength. Now I'm developing core strength and I'm like, why did I avoid this so long? I don't care. I don't care anymore. Because what I know now is that I can be present for it in the I'm showing up where I am weak and I'm strengthening that part. But the psychosis is strong, very strong. I just stayed ugly. Oh my God. One thing as well I would say is that people become more beautiful the more they accept themselves. And a lot of stuff that we do in the archive and with sensory design will help you to mature your face in a way that helps to resist aging and wrinkles. And on top of that, it helps to build out symmetry in your face, which is beautiful, or considered to be beauty, or one of the standards of beauty, as well as depth and width. So, one of the reasons why people will say they're ugly or they're unattractive is because they still have features that are immature. They still got like the baby face, so to speak. And not to say that it's like, oh, baby face is not attractive, but when it comes to who has the most robust nervous system, who has the sharpest senses, the cheekbones and all that stuff, that is representative typically of somebody with higher EQ, higher IQ, a more solid housing, like a more upgraded, a more matured satellite dish, if you will, because this is where a lot of the information comes in. Handsome Squidward, yeah, exactly. But it's funny though too, because it's like that's getting bastardized. There's kids that are mewing, but then they're giggity giggity chatting, skibbity dibbity dumbing, vaping, doing all this dumb stuff. Like they're not developing the behavior with the structure, they're just developing the structure. And this is why you have a bunch of like, dudes that are like ripped and huge, but they still act like 16-year-olds. Addressing mineral deficiencies can change your whole demeanor and even the shape of your face and body as well. Yes, exactly. Like for instance, when dogs eat grass, they eat grass because inherently they know something. They can smell a mineral or something in the grass that is going to help them. Either it's going to help soothe their stomach or it's going to help them throw up whatever they don't want in their stomach. The ability to smell food, look at food, taste food, and know this has the minerals that I need in it, or this doesn't, that's what we're developing. Because right now, what people will typically do is they'll take blood tests, they'll take a doctor. Oh, my bubby. Because they can't taste it and smell it. And nature is freaking cool like that. Like, it's like, yo, why do you guys have doctors? We gave you guys afferent, efferent system. We gave you immune systems. Like, just take care of yourself. And we're like, nah, we'd rather poison ourselves and destroy our bodies and posture and ignore reality. And then we'll send people to school to diagnose symptoms and blah blah blah. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, guys, that might be a good place for me to end. I'm actually feeling like I need some coconut water, and I can feel the coconut water out there. And there's some pressure in my head that I want. Actually, let me see if I can get rid of it with just some pressure. Well, that helped, but I still wanna. I still want to go. This has been great, guys. I'm gonna go see my mom and hang out with my little child over here. Yes, intuition when choosing what to eat is pretty useful. Intuition and senses and all that stuff. Which real quick, because someone just said that's his final form. Um, the epitome of sensory design of what you can learn in the archive is to be able to literally how I just did that. Like, there's pressure is still there, but it's a lot less. To be able to diagnose and summon forth the remedy from within your own body. Because all of the chemicals and all the pills and all the medicine that they would give us, we can actually create it within our own body. You have to know which buttons to press, and it's a very, how you say, not something you can really like study and think about and go and learn or have someone teach you. You have to learn it from yourself and from your own body. So that's the endeavors. We're looking to do something, not that this has never been done before, but we're looking to like give people something to learn without actually teaching them. And so this is what you just saw there was like I will do that like 5 or 6 times a day just to like readjust pressure. And it's not this neurotic kind of like, oh, I'm having this happen, so I need to do this and then I need to twist my ears. It's like, where's the pressure? Over here. All right, so make some space over here. It's like a lot more simple than everyone wants to like think that it is. And so anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna bounce, my guys and gals. Love you. Thank you so much for your endless questions. Much love. Thank you so much for the appreciation. For anyone that wants to continue to work with me, again, follow me. That's for free. Get a body graph. That's also for free. I have a bunch of books on my Amazon list to learn human design and also some other great fiction reads in my bio. I go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at Hawaii Standard Time. I have reports on my website. You can do one-on-ones with me or relationship readings or business relations with me as well. And the main thing is the archive. Come check out the archive. Again, it's only 37 bucks a month. So come check it out at least for a month to see if it's something that you're actually going to vibe with. If not, again, no hard feelings. Although, I definitely have some judgments about people who buy gym memberships, don't do the workouts, and then blame the gym. I'll be transparent with you guys. But anyway, come check out the archive. You guys are going to really, really like what you see. And not only about that, like the way that you feel and the progress that you can make. There's a whole channel where you can go check out progress and you can see people. This is what they look like day 1. This is what they look like day 28. This is what they look like day 90. And some of them look like different people. Or some of them look like they've matured 3 or 4 years in a good way. Not like they look older, but they just look more matured. More of an adult. Look like a child, and then now they look like an adult. So anyway, come check that out. Much love to you guys. I will see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. In the meantime, stay classy. Peace. Oh boy. Steve, Joy, Lee, Taisha, so awesome. Steven, so awesome having you guys in here today. Deb, was great having y'all. I'll see you guys in the archive. I also did just post the transit reflection. I was a little late because I have my mom here, so I've just been kind of like running around with a chicken, like a chicken with its head cut off. Having a lot of fun, but also Yeah, I did just post the transit reflection. So if you guys want some like mental things to chew on, and some guidance in terms of like how to balance out these transit energies, we're in the third line of gate 2 in the sun and gate 1 in the earth. So go check that out. That's going to be in the transit discussions tab in the archive. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace. Oh, we also have class in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I've got a date with my mom. She's leaving tomorrow, so I won't be there. But Pasha will be there, and I'm sure it will be a wonderful class. Much love to you guys. Aloha.